Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. This is Bubba Jessie Stitches, and I'm Jessie. Welcome in, whether you are new. Hope that you find us fun today. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. You know I appreciate you so much. And so let's have a good time today. I am recording this on Saturday, May 4th, so May the 4th be with you. I was going to wear my Star Wars dress today, but it's in the laundry, and I have two, actually. I have my typical one I normally wear, and then I was like, well, since I'll go and wear my Grogu one, Baby Yoda, that I have, and I put it on, and it was too small. It was so sad, and I was like, oh no, I can't wear this. So we're not even themed up today. Oh well, what are you gonna do? This is a channel primarily about cross stitching, and so yeah. So let's talk about some cross stitching. All right, so I had a pretty decent month. I didn't work on a lot of projects, but I ended up doing quite a bit. And so in total, I worked on 6 projects. I'm going to show you 5 because my 6th project is Dr. Georgina Wyndham, which is the steampunk sheep line from Forbidden Fiber Co. It's my travel piece. There's really not a lot to show on it. It's, basically I'm filling in the fleece of the sheep. So it's just a lot of white stitching and it's just adding rows. But I am about to start outlining Georgina, and there's going to be some movement in the way that she looks. So this month or when I do my May update, you will see her then. So, but there is 6 projects that I worked on, but you're not going to see them. But although I will say this, go check out my Instagram. I will post a before and after picture for Dr. Georgina, just because it is a project I worked on in the month. And but I stitched for 29 days and I put in 9,084 stitches, which is probably my best month so far this year. So I've been having slow months. When I looked at my averages and everything for the past couple of years, I've been hitting like 10 and 11,000 stitches in a month, but this year I haven't hit that 10,000 mark yet. And in fact, most of them have been in the 8,000 mark. So I don't know. I don't think my stitching bug is gone, but maybe things are just taking a little longer. I don't know. But a solid month this time around. So really excited about that. Don't know if I'll hit that in May, but I'll talk more about that when we talk about plans towards the end there. I do not edit these videos anymore, so those of you who haven't seen me in a while or you're new, I don't do a lot of editing. All of the projects and information about the projects are going to be in the show notes, whether on the side or below, depending on how you watch it. So that's where you're going to be sure that you'll see everything. I mean, I'm going to tell you, but that's where I'm going to write everything. So be sure that you check it out there if you're interested in any information there. Also, I will not be doing any editing photos of before and afters, but if you are one of those people that's kind of curious to see what 3,000 stitches in a project looks like in the course of a month, I do post before and after pictures on my Instagram, which is at Bobo_Jessie C. Again, that information is in the show notes. If you are so inclined, if you're not following me, I hope you give me a follow over there. Let's become stitchy friends on the gram. I'm already thirsty and it's only been 3 minutes. I haven't shown it to you in a while, but here's my I Practice Stitchcraft mug. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, so first up is Stitch for Pride by These 20 Stitches. I did sign up for the year-long Stitch-along. All of these are inspired by artists in the LGBTQIA+ community. I have loved this project so far. I did not do March's project on time, so I did catch up this month. And so in total, I did part 3 and part 4, so March and April's. And in total, I did 9 days, but I have it split up. I don't actually have the total number here. It looks like, if I do some quick math, 2,725 stitches. That's what it looks like. Check out the Instagram for the full total numbers. But part 3 was inspired by the artist Stephanie Shin, and this is it. I am not doing a spot sampler. I am stitching them individually so that I can finish them individually. It has their own individual artwork. But there it is. So Stephanie Shin is an Asian artist that does sculptures that's inspired by childhood or nostalgic products and events and things. So Dee was inspired by that to do a sriracha bottle, and so that is it. I stitched this with, I promise I'm like all organized here. So the oh, I thought I grabbed the right one. I did not. I don't remember the color. I think this is Oh Christmas Tree from Night Stalker's Calling. I think that's what that one is. I got this in the countdown box, or for Christmas or winter countdown box. And this is Cranberries, also by Night Stalker Calling, also from the same box. Actually, everything I've done so far has been from that. So I love this. I love the way that the colors come out. I love the rooster. I mean, look at that rooster, just all like blop to blop. Okay, so this one, part 3, I worked on it for 6 days, and it was 1,486 stitches. I don't know why this took me so long. It just did. It just took me several days to do that one. Next up, I did finish part 4, which is right here. This is inspired by the Kiss and Tell Collective. This is a local lesbian partnership. I actually am not sure if they're a couple, but it's a local, or actually there might not even be a couple. I think it might be more than that. It's called Collective. The Kiss and Tell Collective. It's a local artist to Dee in Vancouver, and they do photos. So they do a lot of photos that kind of push the edge of the gaze, so to speak, right? Like, as opposed to the heteronormative gaze, this is kind of asking you to kind of look at things a little differently, and so you can see the dichotomy between the two, right? So this is the heteronormative one, and this is a little bit more of a different view, a lesbian one, if you will. And of course it says, "Where do you draw the line?" which is a quote when people talked about their artwork, which was, I think, in the 80s and 90s, where there was a question of, like, where do you draw the line? And this one, also again from Night Stalker's Calling, from the countdown box, was Cindy Lou Who. And so, but I thought, oh, what a perfect little pink color that works for this. I am trying, you may not realize it, I was not able to get the floss kit for this. And so I've been trying to match as best as I can. I'm trying not to use a DMC conversion, but I will when I have to. But I've been trying to match it. So far, I've been able to use things from my Night Stalker's Calling countdown box. So there you go. I always worry about countdown boxes with floss, because I'm not sure what to do with them if it's not part of a kit. And there you go. Look at that. It worked out. All of this is being stitched on 32 count linen, Determination by MisLaid Pages. And so here it is in full, all 4 pieces done. I don't think my fabric is going to be big enough for all 12 pieces. It's hard to know. I can't decide if I want to go ahead and purchase more, but this is 4, and in theory 5 and 6, and if they're all similar size, I should be able to fit it. But part 5, May's piece, just came out, and it looks like it might be the length of this, like it might be this length. So we're gonna have to wait and see how it goes. We'll see. But lots of fun. Every single one of them is doable in a short period amount of time. It is closed, unfortunately, but Dee does plan on releasing them in the future. Has individual pieces, so if you like any individual piece of art, then you can always purchase when they are available. So that's the first one up. Really very excited about that one. Really enjoyed it. Boop. The boop as you do when you make Flosstube videos, right? And I'm sorry, my mic is right here, so you might have just heard my elbow bump it. Next up is Creepy Village SAL by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. And I worked on this for 4 days, and I put in 489 stitches. And I forgot to print the picture of part 3, but what you basically saw this month is I finished the house ornament. Oh my gosh, look at these bats, y'all. Aren't these bats just super cute? But then I started working on part 3, which is the tree. I actually got pretty far on here. Actually, I'm not sure if this was part of this month, but I'm pretty sure that I did, that there was a finish and then this one. But yeah, so this was 4 days on here. These actually take a lot longer because it's confetti. As small as these pieces are, this is in order to get the depth. I mean, look at the richness of that, right? Like that piece. That's a lot of confetti. It's just a lot of color changes, and it just takes a while. And I'm doing this on 36 count linen with 2/2 on 36 count, which just makes it a little bit tougher. For me, it's just a little bit tougher. I love the coverage of it. I'm not planning on changing it. I love the lushness of the 36 over the 2/2 on a 36, but it is it does take a little bit more effort if that makes sense. I don't really know if I'm the only one who feels that way, but super excited about that one. So I don't know if I will be working on this in May, but I wanted to have a goal to try to finish one ornament a month going forward, and then be able to fully finish them in time for spooky Christmas season. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second. I need to blow my nose. Hold on. All right. Hopefully you didn't really notice anything. But speaking about fully finishing these ornaments, I'm going to go slightly out of order because I'm going to talk about something that I purchased this month, because I was placing an order at Fat Quarter Shop. So I thought I'm going to go ahead and get some finishing items for that are available at Fat Quarter Shop. And so for those of you who are not aware, Fat Quarter Shop does have the circle sticky circles mounting boards that are already pre-cut, and so which is really very nice if you are trying to make an ornament or something that is going to be finished in the round, that it's already cut to size, and that's what it looks like there, and you don't have to worry about that. I find mounting boards to be very difficult to cut, and so the less that I have to kind of maneuver circles and things like that, the better. For me, this is me personally. I know that there are definitely people out there who are able to finish without any real problems. They come in 2 sizes. I went ahead and bought those sizes because of various other things. But this one is 2.64 inches. Oops, I didn't realize it was open. And then this size is 3.5. So those are the 2 sizes. They say they're a Fat Quarter Shop exclusive, and it was designed for something for some kits involving stitching with the housewives, but you obviously don't have to use it for stitching with the housewives projects. And the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because of the ornaments. I was like, I wonder if one of these would fit, because I had purchased a 3.5 to finish some other ornaments last year. I had made some patriotic pieces for a gift for veterans homes, and those happened to be the perfect size for those ornaments that I made. And I was like, I wonder if this would fit. That's why I ordered them. And so this is the 3, and I haven't completely centered it, but this is the 3.5 inch circle for the Creepy Village. I think this is fine personally. Like, I think I'm gonna be okay with that little bit. It looks like it's end up being about a 1/2 inch around it, and I think that's fine. The 2 6/4 actually goes right. It's too small. It's gonna be. And here, let me show you. I'll just stick it on top so that you can see. So this is the 2 6/4, and you can see the stitching kind of sticks out. And I mean, I don't have it completely, centered, but like you can see that it's a little too small. But again, I did this on 36 count, which I think was the called for. But if you were doing this, I think it might work for 32 count. Again, I think it'll go right up to the edge for a 32 count. But, something to consider. You can do some measurements, but if it's the right size for your Creepy Village and you haven't finished it, and you're like, I don't know how. These are good. They're not too. You get a pack of 6, and I want to say, I really don't remember how much they were. $8, I want to say. So they're not too bad. And I went ahead and purchased some Licorice Lady Dots Creates Pom-Poms to finish out to do the trim on the ornament. I'm also thinking about getting some twine from Michael's. It's black and white. But right now I'm leaning pretty strongly towards the pom-pom. So anyways, that's it on Creepy Village SAL. All right. Next up is my own design. So this is the Tie Dragon, and so I have started stitching it up, And Nithya actually made a comment about trying to create some uh, different tones and the colors, so that way it's just not hundreds of stitches in the same color. And so that's basically what I did. So this is Tie Dragon, designed by me. Um, I've done some modifications to the design. And so there was some frogging that happened and everything. Oh, I worked on this for 2 days and I put in 284 stitches. And so basically my intention is to go from this pretty light gold, and it's moving towards the center is going to be a darker gold. Now, the thing is that I think it's a lot. I didn't intend it for it to be this subtle, but it is pretty subtle. So because from the light gold to the medium gold kind of color, it's pretty obvious. But this is a darker gold, and I don't know if you can tell. Um, it's very subtle. You can see it in person in really good lighting, but I think in the pictures it may not be as obvious. So I don't know if I picked the right color there, but it's the color I like. So I don't know. So we'll I'm gonna kind of keep going forward on that. But I finished designing this. I think now I'm just stitching it to see if the design works the way I wanted it to work. I wanted to see if the colors I picked were working the way I wanted it to work. But I don't know. What do you think, y'all? Do you think that it's too the transition is a little too subtle? Like, should I consider doing this in a darker tone, or potentially doing this center part in a lighter tone? I do have the way I have it charted. These two are going to be that medium tone gold. So I guess I can take a look and see if audition a different color and see how it looks. Maybe that's what I'll do. But let me know your thoughts. But again, moving on this pretty slow. But a lot of the times in this 2 days that I was working on it, it really was me sitting down with in the charting software to do that. You'll see I accidentally have a pin mark. I drew a pin mark down that. But I'm going to stitch over it, so I'm not worried about it. I didn't try to remove it because I knew I was going to stitch over it. But yeah, I'm stitching this on 32 count Lugana. Do you see what I see by Yummy Fiberlicious fibers? But I'm really super excited about this. Again, did I say 2 days, 284 stitches, and all of it was just failing in the coloring. I don't count the frogging. So there you go. All right. Project number 5 was a big project. I worked on this for quite a bit, but it's an oldie and a goodie. One of my goals for this year, I have very few 2024 goals, but one of them is to finish Cinderella Wishes Upon a Dream by MCG Textiles, artwork by Thomas Kincaid. So this is what it will look like when it is done. I have been working on this forever. I'm going to say at least 10 years I've had this project, because I know I purchased it one of the last times I was at Disneyland. Not this most recent trip I just did this past winter with my husband, but before I even met him. I'm pretty sure that would have been around either 2012 or 2013 when I bought the pattern, the kit, while I was at Disneyland. And so that's when I started, and I'm still working on it. It is my oldest whip that's not part of my time capsule projects. And so, but here we are. I worked on this for 6 days, and I put in 1,034 days. So the kind of goal that I've been working on a monthly basis is to finish a row. And that's what I did. So effectively, I finished this row all the way across here, putting in some stitches. Here's a little bit of a close-up. I'm thinking about waiting until the end to do all of the knots and back stitching, but we'll see how I feel about that, because I really actually dislike doing knots, and every one of these clusters of knots in this artwork is like over 100 knots. Like, here's another one, right? Like, when I actually do count them, they're significant. They're a lot. So I might not wait too long, but yeah, that's a close-up of what I've gotten done. So moving right along, I don't actually plan on working on this in May. For those of you who have been with me for a while, you know that May is typically a mono May for me. Again, I'm going to talk about more of my plans, but this year I will not be doing a mono May. So Cinderella will not be getting this focus attention this month the way that she has in previous years. But And I don't think I'm going to do that 1,000 stitches, but we'll see. It all kind of depends on how the month goes. You know how it goes sometimes. But yeah, there we are. Oh, by the way, it's obviously not obviously, you may not realize this. This is an out of print kit, again by MCG Textiles. Everything is a kit. So it's 18 count Aida with the kit included floss, which is unknown. I'm doing this 2/1 for it. But that is it. That's where it sits right now. Every time I work on it, I always feel like, oh, I can't wait to get it done. I'm enjoying working on it, and then I get burnt out of it by the end of the week. A lot of confetti in this project. In order to get that depth of color that Mr. Kincaid did in his artwork, it's a lot of confetti. All right. Last but not least is the one that I had the most amount of stitching in, and that is going to be Castle Homecoming by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is a SAL, last year's SAL, that is complete. They are getting ready to start their new one, which is Arctic Animals. I'm not going to lie, y'all. Like, there's a part of me that was like, no more. I've been so good about not buying things, like sitting on my hands. The FOMO is real about, like, but I have so many patterns that I have purchased that I haven't stitched. And I was like, I'm trying to do a no-buy year. It's not happening. I purchased stuff. You're going to hear about some of those in a minute. But but I was trying really hard not to do too much. So I wasn't planning on doing the Arctic. I wasn't going to do. I was like, no, whatever it is, la, 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 don't listen to the theme. But then I see these things and I love like little Arctic animals. And I bet there's going to end up being an otter. I'm like, I don't know. So we'll see. I'm trying not to purchase it, but thankfully with Frosted Pumpkin, there's SALs. You can join at any time. So if I do decide that I really want to work on it, I can always pick it up. So I'm not worried about that. But anyways, in the meantime, I'm still trying to finish Castle Homecoming. I did work on this for 24-hour cross stitch. That did happen in April this month. And it's huge. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I have one of my very first reels. But if you want to go see the progress that I made on Castle Homecoming, I did a mono day. I worked only on Castle Homecoming during that 24-hour cross stitch. I did stitch for 24 hours, and I did I missed one hour. If y'all watched it and you paid attention, I missed like hour 16. But otherwise, I have a picture for every hour of stitching that I did, and you can see like what I was able to accomplish when you do this concentrated stitching for 24 hours. But here it is. Da, 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 da. I am stitching this on 32 count Lugana Sandcastle by Color and Cotton. And basically what I did is I'm finishing this side of here, right? So what I did was I finished this bottom right here, all the bricks, all the back stitch in the bricks. I did finish the queen and the king. Again, these before and after photos are going to be on Instagram. I did color convert or skin and hair convert for to represent my parents. So that is, I hope, a good representation of my mom. My mom is Thai, Southeast Asian Thai, from Thailand, not Taiwan. You'd be surprised how many people still make that mistake. It's okay. Americans are not so great at geography, but Thailand, not Taiwan. And much love, Americans, much love. But we're not good at geography. And then of course my dad is Caucasian and he was from Texas. And so I made him look like my dad, and he had a beard. I opted to actually do his hair color in the way that I remembered him when he was in his late 30s and 40s. My dad passed when he was 55. So we lost him, and he was salt and pepper by then, in his beard. And I thought about doing that as in terms of my last memory of what he looked like. But then I thought, no, I feel like, I want to remember him in his, when we were, doing stuff when I was a kid and things like that. And I what I love about this is that, not to get all personal now, but what I love about this is that I feel like this is really like how my parents would be. My mom would be kind of like the very, not stoic, but you know, the somber person on the side, whereas my dad would be the one like cheering and hoopline with flags, and he definitely was that way at my graduations. It made me sad that he did not get to see me graduate from law school. I was 22 at the time of his passing, and but I like to always kind of envision that this is kind of how he would have had kind of behaved, and so, but yeah, so I finished that, and then pretty much what got done in 24-hour cross stitch is this whole corner, like this upper corner right here is what got done in 24-hour cross stitch. So it's a lot. But in total, including that 3 days of 24-hour cross stitch, I worked on this for 9 days and I put in 4,238 stitches. I'm not going to lie, I am burnt out. I am burnt out on this project. But I'm trying to finish it. I'm working on it in May. It's definitely going to get stitched on, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to put in that kind of numbers. But it's kind of funny. I was watching, I don't remember who it was. I've watched several 24-hour cross stitch videos, and someone talked about like how at the end of that 24 hours, it would make you like not want to start cross stitch ever again. I can see that, y'all. It's tough. Like it's tough. And you know, but I was like committed. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hit hour 24, and I did. Like I finished like at 11 p.m. on Sunday night, but I did hit it. And but yeah, it's tough. And no, but that being said, though, like I've been to a retreat, and I probably stitched 24 hours in the course of 3 days of a retreat. So I really kind of think that the way to approach a 24-hour cross stitch is to think of it as a retreat of one, right? Like you're in a virtual retreat, you're not talking to anybody. Maybe people are doing vlogs and you're watching Flosstube videos and things, but treat it like a retreat is probably the way that I would recommend that if you are interested in doing a 24-hour cross stitch, I would treat it that way. I was not able to take that Friday off. I ended up taking the afternoon off and starting early, but which is probably how I was able to hit that 24 hours cross. But I would probably say in the next one, if you really want to do it and you're like, I really want to hit 24 hours, take the Friday off like you would if you were going to a stitchy retreat. You would probably have taken that Friday off and been stitching that day for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that would be my recommendation if you really wanted to try to get it done and not feel like I hate cross stitching. But you know, I did not feel that way. I'm burnt out on the project, but I went to stitching the next day. So like I this is my favorite hobby. So like I don't, it doesn't faze me too much. And I normally on a weekend when we have a lazy weekend, we'll stitch easily 6-7 hours in a single day. So I don't think too much about it. You know, we are a child-free household, which means we have quite a few lazy days where we call it we're couching today. That's okay. We both have pretty stressful jobs sometimes where you need a bit of a couching day. But that's it. That is all my stitching that I did in the month of April. So, you know, what are you going to do? Nothing. It was a great month. so really very, very excited about that. So let's talk a little bit about plans, and then I have some things that I purchased to talk about. So in terms of plans for May, as I already said, I don't think I will be doing a mono May this year. One, for a really good reason. I'm traveling a lot. I'm going to be gone next week for a conference in Detroit. If you're on Detroit and you want to try to meet, we can, but it's actually a really busy conference for me. Like I bill time. Like I consider myself working pretty much the entire day from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Like, so it's the conference itself during the day, and then in the evenings I'm usually at either I'll be going to some social event or dinner with people that are part of my peer groups, and you know, and spending time with them. So it'd be very difficult for me to meet people, but I'm going to be at a conference next week in Detroit for work, and then my husband and I are going to be on vacation. We're going to be traveling to Baltimore, actually, at the end of May for Maryland Death Fest. That is a heavy metal music festival that we will be attending at the end of May. Obviously, that's jam-packed. We are there specifically for this music festival. It's one of my husband's bucket list festivals that he really wants to go to. So we are doing it this year. Next year, we're going to be going to the one in Europe, in Germany. But for this year, we're going to the one in Baltimore. And we're adding one day for us to be able to go do a trip to Antietam. Because, you know, my husband likes a good battlefield. Big Civil War history buff, I guess you could say. And we had been to Gettysburg before. And since we're going to be in the area, he wanted to go spend a day out at Antietam. So we're going to be doing that. But that's a lot of traveling. So doing a mono project, generally, for Cinderella, obviously not an option. Cinderella does not travel well. So I'm going to kind of adjust my goals a little bit, my plans for May to kind of accommodate for that. So basically May is just going to be a regular May. But that being said, people are doing fun things. So I'm going to go ahead and do fun things. As part of my stitching fan group, fandom group, I'm going to be doing one project for 23 days, 200 stitches a day. I'm going to be working on the Ever After SAL from Forbidden Fabric Co. So that's going to be my 200 stitch a day for 23 days. It's already day 4. I've already missed 2 days because we had things that we did. But otherwise I anticipate doing that. I also plan on starting the Deadly Aquarium SAL, which, let's pause. I need your help. I was kidding up the floss, and so that's why I haven't started working on it. And frankly, honestly, if you've been with me, you know I'm super behind on the Greenhouse of Oddities, and so I'm just gonna forever be behind on Lola Crow Sals. But I'm gonna still start more likely this month. But I have 2 fabric options, and I'm just kind of curious what y'all think. I don't know when I'm going to start, but I'll probably, but soon. So my first option, which is the one I had originally picked, was Mermaid Mules by Yummy Fiberlicious Fibers. And this is what it looks like. Oh no, you're not going to see the blue as well. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if I can get to the... Oh, hold on. All right, I paused and nothing worked. So I can't quite get the color to be quite right. So, but hopefully you get a sense of it. So this is Mermaid Mules. It's a nice tealish kind of blue. Actually, I'm going to go post it on my Instagram and see if people will vote on it. And once I do a floss toss. You'll see there's a little bit of hint of some green in there. But obviously, I'm going to probably pick a half. And so, but yeah, it's a lovely teal. And this is what I had originally picked to stitch the Deadly Aquarium on. But then I thought, it's a Deadly Aquarium. Maybe I should go a little more spooky. And so then I thought, what about Wicked Nights, also by Yummy Fiberlicious Fibers? And this is what it looks like. So it's more of that. So on this side, there's a lot of green. There's a lot of green on this side. But I thought, what about this half of the fabric? It has some green tones in it, but it's mostly blue. It's not teal. It's definitely a lighter blue with some green, which I think kind of like implies a little bit of an algae. I also think that the modeling on this one is a little bit more, that gives it a little bit more of a wave water look to it. But what do y'all think? I'm really leaning towards Wicked Nights. Again, I'm gonna kit it. I'm gonna finally kit it up, probably either tonight or tomorrow, and do a floss toss, and then but let me know, just based on this, what do you think? Just looking at the fabrics by themselves. But otherwise, go help me vote on Instagram. I'll probably post it tomorrow, depending on how long it takes me to kit up the floss for the project. But yeah, so I'm planning on starting Deadly Aquarium. Not sure how much I'll get done in it, but that's going to be a plan. I'm also going to do Stitch for Pride and work on part 5. That's a single color. I'll be working on that. That's probably going to be my focus when I travel to my conference next week. I'll probably take Ever After and then Stitch for Pride with me. I'm also thinking about doing the Mira May. I've never done that. I'm not a big Mirabilia stitcher, but I have one project. I have Lady Justice, It is one of the projects that's on my goal. It's an older piece that I've had for a while, and I haven't worked on it very often. And so I was thinking, well, why not? This is just as good of a reason to give it a good focus. In my stitching fandom group, there is a monthly task to put in something like, ultimately it'll be about 1,000 stitches into something that I think my Lady Justice will fit quite well. So I'm going to focus on, so I'm going to do a little bit of focusing on that. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of stitch what I want to stitch when I want to stitch it. As I usually do. All right, so those are my plans for May. And, what are you doing in May? I don't know. I'd be kind of curious to see what you do. Does anyone do are y'all doing Mirror May? Are you doing Mono May? Anyone doing Mono Mays? We know I don't use the other language that used to be used for May because I understand that it's not language that people like to be used. So I refer to it as many May. Are you doing many May where you're starting many things? I'm kind of curious what your May plans are. It's already started. Are you already behind? Like me? Are you already behind like me? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So that's it for plans. So let's talk about things that I purchased. I actually purchased quite a bit of stuff, but not a single pattern. But so I got lots today, y'all. I might not have a time for story time. There's so much stuff going on. But things that I purchased, I already showed you my little circle mounting boards, and then of course I did show you pretty quickly that I got Licorice from Lady Dot Creates. All of this because I finally did it. I have bought the Cone of Doom. Okay, so crinkles while I take this out of the packaging. Mostly because with the Deadly Aquarium, I think it was 3 skeins of 310 that was required, and I have another project that required like 4 skeins of black. And so I was like, you know what, now's the time. Instead of just going to the store and buying 10 skeins of 310, let's go ahead and get the Cone of Doom. And I did. This is much bigger than I anticipated it to be, y'all. I really did not anticipate it. This is my head for scale. Look, it's huge. It's huge. Look at this thing. I am never going to need to buy DMC 10 ever again. I'm really worried about length of time. Does will the fibers sitting on a cone, will they disintegrate over time? Because let's be real, this is lifetime 310, right? But we'll see. I work on a lot of projects. I do a lot of spooky stitching, as y'all know. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I bought that from Fat Quarter Shop. I also purchased the don't know if y'all saw, but Autumn Lane Stitchery had a set of 3 frames that you could buy now or individually in anticipation of companion pieces to the Spooky Stroll. So I'm going to just show you if y'all if you're thinking about buying this. Now, of course, we don't know what the patterns are yet. They haven't been designed. They haven't been released. So I'm kind of doing this let's hope I like them and hope I want to stitch them. But that being said, I do a lot of spooky stitching. So hopefully this will work either way. So there's 3 different designs. And the first one is a skull with, sorry, you're going to see the ring line here. I don't know if there's any way I can do anything to stop the reflection there. But here's some details. So there's a dragon there. There's the skull there with some rose trim. It's the same on both sides. And then here's some skulls and then a bat at the bottom of that. The back of these is a stand. It is a stand. And then, of course, there's a hook if you want to hang it on the wall. And so this is solid, y'all. This is wood and it's heavy. This is a solid frame. And if you feel like, oh, this might be a little bit pricey, no, this is a good quality frame. They're made in England, so it's so they're really quite nice. So that was the first one. The second one is a raven, and here it is here in its full size. And let me get a little closer so you can see the detail on that. So that's the wing. There's his his head there. So again, also on the back, similarly, a stand, and you can hang it, and again, solid wood there. Now, the piece that is intended for spooky stroll is this one. You do get a slight discount when you buy all three at the same time. I think like a 10% discount, but you know, it's still like over $100 for all three of them. But here is the gothic kind of cathedral look to this one. And of course, this was the one that they assigned to Spooky Stroll. Now I folded this as best as I can, and I'm a little concerned that it might not fit in general. When I was folding it, I was trying to see if I could kind of insert it to some degree, but this is not scientific or precise in any way. Do not use this as a way to measure frames. But this is, like, you can see where I have my fingers. That's the edge of the glass, right there. So I think that the opening may be a little tight for my stitch Spooky Stroll. I did this on 32 count Lugana, so I think 36 will be perfect. I think it will fit in there without any real problems. And just so that you know, that's the top, that's the bottom there, right? Like, so here's the top, here's the bottom. For it, I think I'm still going to finish it into the frame and see how it goes. I will also, you can also see, because I looked at it a little bit, when you take off the back, this is pretty, right? Like it's going to be a tight fit when you're thinking about how to finish it. I guess I could have done it this way. Real time, y'all, seeing how Spooky Stroll on 32 count is going to fit. So, all right. So using that little insert. Again, not precise. This is not precise. But there it is. That's the insert. It's wrapped around the insert right there. So I think it's going to be a little tight. Like, I suspect that this little piece right here is probably going to get covered by the frame. But yeah. So, we'll see. While it is not my plan in May, I do have plans in June to do some finishing. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So yeah, that's my frame purchases for that. But the hope is that in June I'll have this finished, and then you'll really be able to see, for those of you who are still on the edge of purchasing or haven't purchased Spooky Stroll yet, and you're thinking about getting it and whether or not you should go ahead and get the frame at the same time. Hopefully I'll have that done in next month. But obviously, give me a follow on Instagram, and we'll do that. All right, next up is I am in the Fabric of the Month Club for Coloring Cotton, and I've been trying to build up my 36 count linen stash, and so this is April's, and this is the color is Buttercup. Another nice neutral color, a little bit of a yellow tone to it. It's hard to see in this light. I'm sorry. I wish that my lighting was a little bit better. It's the sun. It's a cloudy day right now, so I'm gonna blame the cloudy day. I'm probably gonna stay in the Fabric of the Month Club probably for another few months, maybe through the end of the year, and then I'll probably end up canceling because I think I'll have a pretty solid stash of fabric. I'm not stitching quickly enough to be utilizing my stash that I have, and I'm trying to make sure that I only have fabric that fits the space that I've allocated to it. So if it's not already if I don't pull it out and put it into a project bag for something, I'm getting pretty close to filling up my space, and I don't want to do more than that. All right, my last piece of purchase. Wow, again, this is going to be a long video with real cross-stitch content. I don't think there's going to be a story time today. All right, I bought Adam Hart cross-stitch floss drops. So I got the clear ones. You're going to see it for you right away. Let's open it together. Crinkles, tears. So here's what it looks like. So I got the frosted clear ones, so just the big ones to do that. I prefer to use floss drops. I also do use project floss things, but when you start getting to a certain amount of floss, like it's just better to have these. And so I went ahead and bought these. This is gonna be my first time using them, so I'm really excited. I went ahead and got 100 because why not? And then also, because I'm a sucker, I also went ahead and got this one, which is the Ocean Nebula. This is 25. I don't think it's enough, but this is what I'm going to use to kit up my Deadly Aquarium one. And I was like, when I saw it, I just thought it was so pretty. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to splurge, and I'm going to go ahead and get it. So this is it here. And look how pretty those are. And I think they're all individual kind of coloring. But yeah, I'm going to kit up. These are solid. These are solid thickness in terms of the thickness. The holes look pretty solid size. I won't know until I actually, put the skein on. But yeah. So that's we'll see that. We'll see that in a bit. Okay. All right. Last but not least, a couple of more things, a little bit under purchases, but also under plans. Retreats. I have some upcoming retreats. So I'm going to be going to Stitching in the Stitching Sirens retreat. That's in June in San Antonio. If you are going to that, let me know. Love to catch up. See you there. But I'm going to be going to that one. I'm also going to Stitching in the Wild Weekend 1 with Garon Stitchery in September. So if you're going to that one, let me know. But that's a few months down the line. But as terms of purchases, as it's relevant to the segment. So I'm also going to be attending the virtual retreat with Luminous Fiber Arts with Misty. I think it's called Annabella's Virtual Retreat. But I just signed up for that today. That's on Saturday, June 29th. It's virtual. It's going to be from 11 Eastern to 7 Eastern on that Saturday, June 29th. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to be. So I've signed up for that. And there's still time I think there's still time to sign up because I signed up today. I'll put all that information down below. But if you're interested and you like Misty's patterns and everything, love to see you on a virtual retreat. I having done the Jingle Ball, I am very open to virtual retreats. I think the Jingle Ball was fantastic. It was done really well. I'm kind of curious to see how this one will go. I've done another virtual retreat before. So I'm very curious. But if you are thinking about doing it, it's not inexpensive. I think it was $150 for a single day, which I think is a lot. Like, honestly, I do think that's a lot. But I'm fortunate enough that I have that in my budget. But but consider that. All right. Last of the Stitchy content, final segment is Flosstubers. I haven't talked about Flosstubers in a while because I usually watch people. I watch my friends. I usually spend time with people who I'm friends with. Either in my head we're friends, or we're actually friends. In the virtual or real community. And I've mentioned a lot of them a lot. Like in fact, in my Flossmas videos, and pretty regularly I mention them. So I haven't seen a whole lot of new people that I've added to my viewing that I haven't mentioned before. But first of all, I've mentioned them before. I do think of them as a friend, but they kind of disappeared for a little bit. But they're back. It's Kira at Sea Dragon Slayer. So go check her out. I'm so happy you're back. So happy you're here. Really enjoyed catching up with you. And so for those of you who haven't watched, I think that wonderful stitching, as always, starts with a whip parade, and I can't wait to see the progress. And in fact, it was because of Kira that I'm going to be doing Mira May. So I'm doing Mira May with you. But yeah, so I'm really excited for that. So not a new Flosstuber, but a returning Flosstuber that I love, and really hope that you'll go check them out. Again, all information in the notes below. I also found a new Flosstuber who I have decided is going to be part of my regular, because when I tell you that I watch this video and my husband comes in and he was like, "Oh, what you doing?" And I said, "I just finished watching a Flosstuber." My literal description of her was she was just so delightful, and you know, such a wonderful presence. So I really enjoyed her. Her name is Sally, and her Flosstube is Sally Stitches. And I think there's 4, maybe 3, but I think there's 4 videos, brand new. Very delightful. Go check her out. You will not regret it. It like the way she speaks and the way she talks about her project. It's comfort, and it's very. And I like how I like how she's doing her titles, Sally Stitches, and then it's kind of this cute thing. So, anyways, really delightful woman. Really enjoy her stitching. Big fan of Frosted Pumpkin. Big fan of Frosted Pumpkin. So she had me at Frosted Pumpkin being real, but overall, I really have enjoyed all of her videos. So, so go and check her out. All right. I know this is lengthy. But this is it. That's the end of our Stitchy content. So I'm going to share just one little anecdote. Y'all, you're going to see the picture, but really the highlight of the month of April was the total eclipse that we were able to see. We were so lucky that, so I live in the Houston area. But my in-laws live just north of Austin, about 30 minutes north of Austin, which was one of the areas where it was going to be a little over 3 minutes was going to be the totality. And I have a couple of friends from college who flew into Austin for this event, and they were just, and as y'all may recall, that it was supposed to be cloudy, very, very few locations in the path of totality. We're going to have good weather. And we were just, we were like, you know what? We're just going to chuck it up to a good weekend with friends in Austin, Texas. And it was wonderful to catch up with them. I'm really very fortunate that my core friends from college, over 25 years of friendship at this point in time, and we still like each other. We still get together once a month on Zoom. We chat. We try to do a vacation together, typically around our college reunion, but we try to get together at least every few years where all of us show up in the same town. So I'm really very fortunate in that. But in the sense that but 2 of them came down. So we were like, that's fine. Wonderful. We'll just have a nice, lovely weekend, even if the clouds don't abide from us. So that day, we're at my in-laws' house, where we were going to have a clear view of everything. And so we were just hanging out. My in-laws actually had gone to a brunch, so they weren't even there. So it was just my friends. And so we were just sitting there, clouds, but was fantastic. When the eclipse began, we would get these pockets. We would get these pockets of clearness where the patches in the cloud would just disappear. And we were like, okay. And it would be like hilarious. It'd be like a minute. We're like, all right, let's go look. We did our little things, do a little look. And we're like, okay, a minute. And then cloud again. We're like, all right. And so it was just kind of one of those types of things that we were just sitting outside. Oh, wait, coverage clear and like that. And then as totality was approaching, huge cloud. By the way, it was supposed to rain that day where we were. It was supposed to rain that afternoon. And so this huge cloud starts coming towards us. And we're like, no. We're not going to be able to see the totality. It was we're like, that's okay. We're going to be okay with what we're able to see. And then of course, cloud, we're getting towards totality. And then like about 30 seconds, a minute before totality happened, break in the cloud. And for 5 minutes, including the entirety of the totality, it was clear. And we had a beautiful sky cloud-free view of this total eclipse. And the birds went quiet. The street lights came on. It was not dark like nighttime, but it was definitely like dusk. And one of my dogs was just inside, just sleeping like she normally does. But my other dog was just out there sniffing the air, feeling the temperature drop that happened with the totality that happened. It was just like supervising. Those are probably the pictures that you see in my preview pictures, because I normally don't put cross stitching pictures there, but like it's a picture of my dog and the eclipse for this month. I will tell you, like, you can't describe it like a partial eclipse, which I saw last year in Houston. We had a partial eclipse when there was the one last year, the annular one, not this one. This one apparently was fancy. I don't know why. I don't know the differences, but we had that. It was neat, right? You saw the little crescent shadows and stuff like that. I thought it was really neat, and it was like, oh, this is fun. So, really enjoyed it. But there's something about being in the path of this totality. Not that you're like having like spiritual thinking about like, oh, think of reflective of my life. Like that wasn't happening. But like it was, I mean, I got goosebumps. It was awe is right the only word I can think of. And if you are ever on this, if you find this kind of stuff interesting, and it just even casually interesting in it, if you are ever in the path and available to go to a totality viewing, make the effort to do it. It's undescribable what it was like standing there watching it happen. Because we were outside, and this was my in-laws, all the neighbors were also outside. You could hear this collective like, wow. I'm sure that if we had been like in a stadium, there were some viewing places that were in stadiums and things like that. Like probably to have heard that collective gasp would have been also just spine chilling as well. So, but that's my story. That's my story for the month of April. My recommendation, if you are casually into astronomy or anything along that lines, hell, even if you're not casually into it, if you find yourself in a position where you are able to get in front of to be part of a totality eclipse viewing, make the effort to do it. You will not regret it. I promise you will not. It was amazing. So with that, let's finish this off. It's May the 4th. So of course, we're going to end with a Star Wars joke. Where did Luke get his new hand? Why, a second-hand store, of course. Good recycler he is. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a stitchy good time, and I'll see you next month. Take care.